Basically, a feeling of satisfaction that a job well done. In a sense, it has been a long journey. In fact, it's almost 10 years since BSE shares were sort of on offer, and 2007 is when the demutualization happened. And since then, BSE has been trying to list. Now 2017, so 10 years, and I think overall, even if you look back last 1 year, March is when we got the approval. And then we decided that we are not going to dilute the shares of existing shareholders. So we were not going to go out and issue new shares.
It was like an OFS process.
And so we went for OFS, but then we had 9,500 shareholders already. So taking shares from them, allowing them all equal opportunity to sort of deposit their shares for offer for sale, and also then collecting, going through the various AGMs and so on and so forth. So it has been a longish process vis-a-vis most other companies, but I think overall it has been very satisfying.
Mr. Chauhan, if I could ask you, clearly everyone knows that this would have been a premium listing for various reasons. Perhaps the markets were anticipating the 4-digit listing. We all know till yesterday how the grey market was operating on a premium. But for you, clearly, even I had asked you when you had come out with this IPO, clearly there was a strategy to ensure that keep the pricing low and look at the long-term perspective, and has that worked?
For us, see, basically BSE is a public institution, it is a public utility, and it should basically provide the confidence to the investors. At the same time, we are also a front-line regulator. So we usually, whenever somebody, even when you ask me, my first reaction was that every investor should read the prospectus, study the industry, study the company, and then try to invest, because for us it's absolutely paramount importance. Our basic business is compliance. Profit is only an outcome of doing a good job on compliance, and that's how it has to be very, very long term. It cannot be very short term, and that's how investors who have invested before have actually behaved. And they basically they created a committee of selling shareholders, some of the large, even small shareholders, FIIs, local, and then they discussed with the merchant bankers on what should be the strategy. Merchant bankers took us through practically lots of countries, hundreds of investors. We went one-on-one, and then they created a book. They went to the selling shareholders saying, this is how it looks, and they basically both of them agreed, the merchant bankers and the selling shareholders. That's how this framework came. So we were not that we were not that involved in pricing decision per se, but we were trying to sort of impress upon all parties that let's try to be reasonable and ensure that investors in the overall scheme of things benefit.
But Ashishbhai, clearly it is now come out to be a win-win for all, the kind of premium listing that has taken place with the kind of price band of 805 to 806 that you had kept.
In fact, there were questions. I mean, it's a win-win situation for people who are holding shares, people who are coming afresh. But basically, in a sense, we need to, when I look back, there were shareholders who had been holding shares for very long. Many of them have also not got the returns that they had desired. And similarly, some of the shareholders who have recently bought probably have got better returns. So it's a kind of a what I call mixed feelings for many of our shareholders. But I think it's also existing shareholders have got a relief thing. At least now you have a liquidity, and that was basically the essence of our working hard on that. That pricing for us as employees or as sort of compliance people, pricing is not that important vis-a-vis sort of ensuring that all the activities you have gone through well.
Mr. Chauhan, if I could ask you, as a CEO, would the challenge come now going forward? Every quarter, the results will be out, minutest of details will be looked into, questions will be asked on the margin, the P, so on and so forth. So how do you see things panning out from here, particularly from the balance sheet point of view? What is going to be the strength, or what is going to be that revenue stream that you would be eyeing?
See, basically, as you rightly said, now we will be in sort of more transparent way. See, we had 9,500 shareholders. Even as per regulations, we need to do quarterly results on our website. We do everything that is required of a listed company. But now that we have larger number of shareholders, more sort of spotlight from media also. I think, as you rightly said, we are going to be scrutinized more often and much more in detail, and we should be. See, as a public utility, I have always maintained that the transparency is the best disinfectant, and one of the reasons in back of my mind of listing is also that this kind of public utility, which is also providing services to the same industry, we need to be scrutinized more.
Mr. Chauhan, clearly we all know the strengths, as you have also put it out in your draft DRHP when you filed and during your road shows. Listing is one of the biggest strengths and revenue stream for you. Of course, the mutual fund platform now. So going forward, would volumes, which has always been a challenge for various reasons, and that has been a question which is always asked to BSE, what about the volumes? Would that be an area of focus? Because certainly volumes also in more than one sense becomes a benchmark when it comes to looking at exchange and so on and so forth.
See, basically many times our perceptions of the past tend to make us think that is the reality. The world shifts pretty soon, pretty fast without our knowledge. And so when BSE in 2000 or for that matter other exchanges in India, that time there was no kind of trading volume, was not a great concept in terms of the revenue earner. But last 15-16 years that has become very large. Does it mean that it will remain in future? It needs to be seen.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.